Hi, Haley.
Hi. How's it going?
What were you saying earlier about we ran into someone?
Oh, I was saying we ran into someone yesterday when we were at Soho who was like, asked me if I was still working a certain job, and I said no, and they were like, it's okay. Better times are on the way. And I
I
was like,
know.
better times are now. I'm not working that job that made me
All right, we
miserable.
didn't even talk about that. You're right. Yeah, it was very much a moment where we were like, no, Haley's fine. She's
No,
great.
do you see me sitting here in this place smiling a lot? Like,
Yeah.
better time. I'm having a better time
I know.
right
What
now.
is with that sentiment?
I don't know. Well, and then they were like, "Wow, you're so optimistic," and I was like,
I mean, I chose to quit.
I
Like,
am like it was also. I guess you could also categorize them being like, "It's okay, better times are on the way," as being optimistic,
yeah,
but I really beat them to it.
I
Like I was just a
know.
little bit more.
I wonder if you noticed.
And then they said they were like, "That's a great attitude," and I
Yeah,
was
you're
like,
right. Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't have that attitude if I weren't having a better, if I were like struggling. But
Yeah. And that's actually kind of like the
I am
perfect,
struggling,
slowly struggling.
struggling a little.
Um, and that's kind of the perfect opener for this episode that is all about what I want to call the LA Actors Boot Camp with Haley Royale.
Boot camp.
Boot Camp.
Boot camp.
Yes. Um, and how do we want to define the boot camp for today?
Maybe we should call it actually LA Actors Financial Boot Camp,
Financial boot camp.
right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into being an LA actor. Like, we're going to have to categorize it.
Yeah.
And finances is a huge, unfortunately,
Yeah.
huge part of it
Yeah.
that can really dictate the way that you approach your career and following your dream and listening to your heart and making certain connections. Like, money's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all the things like classes that are worth it, that weren't worth it for you, as well as what a new actor in LA can expect to pay when they arrive here. And we've talked about it a little bit earlier on, episode wise, but I think I really wanted to. We were just talking about, I love the videos where it's like what I spend in a day in LA or Atlanta or Paris, whatever.
I'm obsessed with those videos.
So interesting to see how different people spend their money in their day.
I saw a woman on TikTok one day being like, how I eat in New York City for $30 a week.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What?
Yeah.
$30 a week.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment in itself.
I mean, when I first moved here and had $700 to my name, I was getting by on $25 a week. But
Wow.
I was so unhealthy. Like, I was starving, actually. I remember my uncle, I posted like a little like TikTok, not TikTok, I posted an Instagram story of like what I was having for dinner one night. And my uncle called me immediately and was like, "We're in town. You cannot eat that for dinner. Please let us buy you some dinner."
What was it?
Um, Beans in the rice cooker because I didn't have any like pots or pans that I needed. I was like, I can't afford pots or pans. I don't really even know how to cook very well. So I just bought a rice cooker because I was like, I Googled, I was like, I bet I can figure out how to make anything in a rice cooker. And I really did. I had a rice cooker for a year and a half and nothing else. And I put beans in the rice cooker and then cracked an egg into it, and it was really delicious, but also like beans. And
Yeah.
that was like a treat. That was like a really good night.
Wow.
Yeah, usually my like regular meals when I first moved here were like a packet of oatmeal for breakfast.
Okay.
And then whatever was left over, because I was working at the Writers Guild Foundation. So, like, whatever was left over in the Writers Guild Foundation fridge from, like, an event or something, sometimes there would be great food. And sometimes it would be, like, some bread or something.
Oh my
like cookies.
God.
And then I would have, like, usually, like, beans and eggs and, like, whatever vegetable I was allowed to buy that week. Like, really, I wish I had like the post-it note of like my like budget breakdown, because it was like a box of oatmeal, a bag of beans, 2 boxes of eggs and like a bag of chopped broccoli because I didn't have knives. So I was like, I can't even cut.
Better times are here. Absolutely.
Better times are here.
Wow.
I eat like a king. I have 2 knives. I have 3 pots and pans. Actually, Brittany has pots and pans. None of them are mine, but
Her roommate.
I do use them. I have dishes piled as high as the sky.
Oh my God. But she doesn't have a lamp.
I don't own a lamp. I told Indy I didn't have a lamp, and I thought she was gonna punch me.
We were shooting something coming out soon, which is our homework series. So Haley designed these pretty incredible like pocket classes that are accessories to our bigger master classes that teach actors how to apply all of the things they're learning in our classes at home without the gear. So it's practice without gear. And we were shooting our first one over at Hawk, and I was like talking about eye light, and I'm like, well, I mean, people have lamps. They can like take off the shade and like practice kind of like shadows and things like that. She was like, we really need to practice with things that people have. And I was like,
people have lamps.
People have lamps. They have lamps. She's like, I don't have a lamp. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Face was the greatest face I've ever seen.
So I was like,
she's
what do you
use?
And she's like, the overheads. Is this a common thing? Tell us.
The overheads.
Do you have lamps? How many do you have? Are they moody? Are they fluorescent? Are they LED? Are they not?
DM us.
Yeah.
Put a comment down below. Tell us how many lamps you have in your
I've never
apartment.
met someone that doesn't have a lamp. You're the first.
I don't own a single lamp. Well, I did own a lamp. I told you the story.
But then it broke.
I owned a lamp. I brought it I put it in my tiny car and brought it to LA with me because I was like, I'm going to have at least a lamp. Like, that's something that I can have.
Exactly.
And I got there, and it had a dimmer on it. If I turned it all the way up, it would buzz. And if I turned it down a little bit, then it would like flicker weird. So I kept it for like a year and I got rid of it. And I just don't have anywhere to plug in a lamp unless I like do the like hangy, like plug it in and then hang it.
You have an outlet?
I have an outlet, but there's no floor space. It's packed in there.
Okay, she's not a hoarder, everyone. There is space. We're going to redesign your apartment for you.
I have never thought of a lamp as a necessity, even though I hate the overhead lights. Like during the day, I just open the windows because the overhead lights give me a migraine.
Yeah.
And then at night, I just keep them as like dim as possible. I should just start living by candlelight.
Yes.
That would be romantic.
Or I'm just going to come in and help you do your lighting.
Help me place a lamp. I had a couple of salt lamps.
Okay.
For a minute, but I sold them because I needed to pay for rent.
My goodness. All right, well, let's get into the finance boot camp, speaking of.
Let's talk about it. Sitting here today with my finances in the current situation that they're in. Listen, I don't feel poor, but we were talking about how I do have a decal on my car so that I can have $100 a month.
Okay, I wouldn't do it, but I love it. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
How did you explain this? How did you get this money coming in?
I have one acting teacher who says work begets work. And he's absolutely right, because I learned about this when I was working background on something. So this is minuscule scale, but I was working background and I met someone who I was just asking him about like, what kind of side hustles are you doing? Like feels like no one single job in Los Angeles will pay for everything. You just kind of have to piece everything together, especially when you're an actor and like you need kind of flexibility and you need to be able to drop something at a moment's notice. So I was like, what do you do? And he said, I have my car wrapped, which is awesome. And somehow he was making like $400 a month with a car wrap.
This is your teacher?
No, this was just someone I met on set.
Oh, sorry. This was the background thing.
This is work begetting work.
Oh, got it.
I met him on set, and we were talking about like seat filling and background and like how he was like using some apps to like find different kind of little gigs. And then he was also, and I have my car wrapped. And I asked him about it, and he gave me the name of one service that never really panned out for me, but I found another service, like it was like an Instagram ad because they knew I'd been looking, called Carver Ties. And basically, for Carver Ties, you like drive with their app that has like location tracking basically for like a week. And they see where you're going and where you live and what kind of like population there is around you. And then they match you with an ad campaign through their service. And they reach out and they ask if you're interested and you say yes or no. And then you send some pictures of the car and like the current state that it's in. And then they decide yes, like I guess the company decides yes or no. And then they send you to a place to get your car wrapped and they pay you like $150 for the hour that it takes to wrap the car. And then every single month, they send me $100 just to continue driving with that ad on my car. And I think some services probably pay more because this one guy was making a lot of money.
And yours is fully wrapped.
Mine is, well, I guess you could call mine a partial wrap, actually. Why does that keep happening? You could call mine a partial wrap, actually. It's the bottom half of my car.
Yeah, but the top half are like windows.
The top half is windows, but there are some people whose entire, like, I saw a campaign.
I want to look it up.
I saw a campaign when I first moved here that was, you couldn't even see the color of the car. Like, this guy that I met had his car wrapped for, like, Vita Coco or something.
Oh my God.
And his car was a black Prius, but it was entirely wrapped in a bright blue wrap. Like, I couldn't have guessed that his car was black if he hadn't told me. So that's a full wrap, and you make more money for those. But I did just like jump at the first one that like reached out to me because I was like, I'll just try it out.
Did you apply? So I'm looking at their website. Did you apply as a rideshare driver or as a commuter?
As a commuter.
Okay, that's why you're making less. It says for rideshare drivers, you can make $450 to $1,500 a month. Whoa.
Well, I refuse to drive people in my car.
That makes sense.
I mean, does it count if I'm a rideshare driver if I drive Uber Eats?
I don't know.
Or if I'm fleet? Oh, you know what? I think when I signed up, it was a year ago, and they asked if I was a fleet driver. And fleet, I think, is cars that are contracted through that service. So, like, Uber's own cars that you rent from them to be a driver count as fleet cars.
Okay.
And if it's your own car, you're a commuter.
Got it.
Or maybe I just messed up and I did it wrong, but no. It still pays my insurance. So. That's
great. It's a little secret hack there.
I'll take it.
And you don't have to do anything.
I don't do anything.
Passive income.
I just deal with a little bit of humiliation because there is a sign on the back of my car that says, "How's my driving?" with a number to call. Also, I am contractually forbidden from road rage. I don't really get road rage anyway, so
what
it's fine.
Like, just like yelling at people?
Yeah, like basically it says in the contract that I signed that like if there's an issue on the road, if there's an altercation, you have to take the high road. Like you cannot like react to them. So like if someone like honks at me or flips me off, like I can't flip them off.
Got it.
Back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
I don't really do that.
Yeah. Let's talk classes that aren't worth it, going into as much detail as you can.
Safely.
Yeah.
Because I could get in a lot of trouble for slander. Well, for slander. Like,
it's an honest opinion.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay. So I want to start by saying there is a mindset component.
Okay.
To any kind of course that you take, any kind of class, any kind of workshop, any kind of anything, right? Like you can go into something and have the mindset that no matter what, you will learn something from it. Whether it's, you learn that this course isn't for you, or you learn that like there are certain types of people you don't want to work with, or that like there are ways to overcome bad teaching, like I feel like every course I've ever taken, I have learned something from, whether or not I've decided to go back and take it again. I will say casting director workshops, for the most part, are not a class. Like, you're not going to, like, learn or perfect a new skill while you're in a casting director workshop. That's not really what they're for. Like, if you're using those as class, you're going about it and you're being misguided. Like, it shouldn't be used as a class. A casting director workshop, you should be going to just to get FaceTime.
Hi everyone, it's Indiana, just popping in here to chat a little bit about cinematography for actors. It's an online course platform that Haley and I created to teach the technical side of performance. As a cinematographer, I've noticed that the difference between newer and seasoned actors isn't in their ability to perform, it's in their ability to understand the technical requirements of them on set. Our goal is to help you, as an actor or a newer filmmaker, feel confident when you walk onto set. We release new classes monthly, and you'll also find tons of free downloadable content. Now, we recommend the most affordable option, our subscription, where you'll have access to every single thing we put out, including bonus materials, existing classes, and classes as they release monthly. Our listeners can use code TTC Podcast for 20% off a monthly membership of the entire collection. That's TTC Podcast for 20% off your card at checkout. Okay, back to the episode.
You're not going to go to a casting director workshop and meet one casting director one time and blow it out of the park and they fall in love with you and your career takes off. Like, that's just, it isn't going to happen. It takes multiple times for a casting director to see your face, to start to recognize you, and then to start calling you in, and then to start inviting you to auditions. And that might not even happen. You may never make an impression on a casting director, but I think what it does do is, like, helps you feel calmer every single time.
Calmer, like, how?
Calmer, like there are nerves that happen when you go into an audition, right? Or there are nerves when you meet someone who could potentially do something great for you. And if you keep going every time, it becomes equally unimportant every time.
What are the format of casting director classes?
So usually the format is that you will sign up for the class, and then they'll send you approved sides, or you will choose sides that you like a scene, and then send them off to be approved.
Okay.
And then they'll ask you to send your headshot, resume, and the sides you're going to do a couple days in advance. And then you'll get to the workshop, and if it's in person, everyone will sit together, and if it's a Zoom, everyone will be in the same Zoom window together. And then there's just kind of like an introduction and a little bit of a Q&A. People will ask questions.
Like what?
Like, the casting director will say, where they're from, what things they've worked on, what interests them. Sometimes they'll just start out giving advice, being like, this is what I like to see personally. Usually in every workshop, a casting director will be like, I am your friend. I want you to do a good job, because I feel like they feel like they need to really
Okay, why am I
reassure
getting
us
so
about this.
mad about this?
Are you getting upset?
About this casting director workshop? Because my answer, and this is, from below the line film crew vibes, are you paying money to have someone tell you it depends pretty much? Because people can be like, I'm sorry, but we keep coming back to this thing of it depends. Everything is based on story. Everything is based on how a director tells the story. Everything is based on how we're going to capture it, what kind of thing they're looking for. Also, what the market is, diversity-wise. You know what I mean? Inclusion-wise. So it's how can someone go on to a Zoom of people and be like, I like to see this? It's isn't that dependent on what the job is to some extent?
It's dependent on everything. It is
Yeah.
dependent on who the casting director is, what market they work in, what their personal experiences have been in their own life and their own professional life, the show they're working on, the director they're shopping for. Like, it depends on every single little thing.
How are you supposed to actually get anything out of that if literally it's depending? Like, it's dependent on everything.
I think that it's really great that you're bringing this up, because you could absolutely go in and be like, this is bullshit. And casting director workshops actually were shut down for a while. They became basically illegal because it was seen as pay to play.
Yeah.
The thing is, at this point, a casting director workshop is kind of a necessary evil, because casting directors call in people who they know they can trust. They call in people who they have consistently seen good work from. They call in people who they have consistently seen good work from. They rarely take a chance on a brand new face of a person they've never seen before.
On Zoom, who they've seen on Zoom.
Yeah, or in person, but it's on Zoom.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
The way that you can prove that you're someone a casting director can trust right now is by paying $25 to $100 for a casting director workshop, getting your stuff in on time, getting the stuff that they request in on time, choosing an approved side, having it prepared, being ready to work on that, being memorized, having the story figured out, having your character figured out, showing up, being a good Zoom member, not taking over the conversation, not asking a million questions, asking relevant questions.
Oh my God.
It's
just being obedient.
Being a good student is basically how you prove to these people that they'll be able to trust you if they send you onto set.
Can I tell you another way people can trust you?
I love that you're so pissed off about this,
really
because I've been conditioned to accept that this is just the way it is, which it is. Like, sorry, like,
just be obedient, right? And maybe I'll like you.
It'd be great if one day it changes and we really do get to go to those, like, parties like you get to go to and actually meet these people.
This is what I'm saying.
And build real relationships.
That's it.
But
the relationships.
Right now, as it is, necessary evil. We have to do those because that's the only way that we can meet casting directors before they start pulling us in for auditions.
No.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, tell actors where casting directors hang out in Hollywood. They fucking don't, because they don't want actors fawning all over them and begging them for jobs. Because unfortunately, that happens.
Yes, definitely. I totally get it. Like, if it's a necessary evil, it's a necessary evil. This is not, my realm. I'm like a different part of the side of film. It makes me, you can see how upset I am.
I feel so validated because every time I pay that, I there are a couple of good places that do like pretty great casting director workshops that like you feel like you're really getting some FaceTime and they're very responsive and they'll like give you their contact and email back and forth a little bit. But I'm still, every time I'm like, oh, I've got to pay this goodbye $45.
Oh my God.
Goodbye dinner. Like, oh my God. I've got to go meet this person.
So the way that, it would work in my side of the world that I think could potentially translate to an actor side of the world if we're going to try and change the game here a little.
Yeah, which we are through our umbrella corporation.
The Topanga Collective and Cinematography for Actors.
We're going to change this.
We're going to change the game for actors because I think it's you're at a disadvantage. It's the same thing, by the way, for our world. There are a lot of people who go up to agents and are like, oh my God, like, I'm a DP, please, like, work with me. Or go up to directors and are like, I'm a DP, I have my own camera. Like, or come up to people and are just like fangirling or whatever the term is now over things. And it's very obvious. And those people get like pretty quickly kicked out of the conversation. And so I don't think that's like a worry about it, because like people know how to navigate out of that politically a lot of the time, like in networking situations. But if it were me, I would just focus on going to where places that people that matter make decisions. And to me, that's like look, if you're spending $40 to $100 a month, join a really good yoga class. Go to a good coffee shop in the right area enough. I mean, those are stupid kind of simple things, but I mean, this is like a very privileged thing, but join something like Soho House, join something where, or if you have a friend, go to some of the events. Like, people still have to live in LA and hang out in LA. Go to like film networking events for DPs. Go to like film premieres that are available for everyone, meaning film festivals. Mm-hmm. Go get a film festival pass. Instead of spending, $100 7 times, on these things, go to where you get lost in a sea of people on a screen. Go in person and hang out at a festival in LA for a few days and meet people at the free networking events or beforehand.
I think what you're saying is valid, and it's actually like a mindset. You personally, Andy, have changed my mindset about this particular thing a little bit. For a long time, I thought the casting director workshops were absolutely the only possible way. And in a way they are. I still think they're necessary as the game is now. Unfortunately, we have to play the game. We have to play it a little bit if we're going to see any progress.
Right.
However, I also have realized how important it is that we're not just holding ourselves up in our apartment and being like, I'm poor, I can only afford a casting director workshop, or I can only afford class. We have to get out. And I don't mean like go party.
No.
But some sort of like social or physical activity where you are meeting people.
Yeah.
Because
1,000%.
People get so frustrated and annoyed at the fact that a lot of this business is who you know.
Yeah. It is.
And it's not, nepotism is such a like dirty word that people throw around.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It is about relationships and real friendships. Back to, talking about networking. Yes, a casting director workshop is a great way to get an hour in front of someone. And then hopefully you're at yoga, or hopefully you're golfing, Soho House. You're walking on the beach and you see that person. You're like, oh my God, hey. You can then approach them and be like, thank you for the insight you gave in that class.
Right.
It is not just only go to these casting
and hope for the
workshops.
best. Yeah.
You really do need to be trying to find every single opportunity you possibly can.
Yeah.
To get out there and just like maybe make these connections.
There's also like, I really believe like, for me, directors and producers hire me, right? So if I don't know directors and producers, how am I going to get work? But that's not the case. It's a lot of the time like, oh, I became friends with like a writer and she's friends with a director. I don't think meeting a casting director should be like the first goal. It should be like maybe your end goal, but like I don't think it should be the first goal. I think it's like, oh, yeah, I know I met this really good writer. Oh, wait, this writer's dating a casting director. Or this writer is friends with this producer and they've been teaming up trying to do this. Oh, wait, they're friends with the casting director they went to school with that is now a casting director. You know what I mean? I think it's just like, that's why we live in LA, is like hang out, have authentic, wholesome relationships that don't go immediately to like, I must meet a casting director.
Yeah,
this writer.
God, please do not go out just like fishing for casting directors.
No, because that's the wrong way of doing it.
They're already an elusive bunch. Like, do not just go out looking everywhere a casting director.
But if you think about it, it's like a casting director, like what you're saying is, I like to see this. I like to trust you. You know how you can get trust? By meeting them at a dinner party just because you happen to make friends with this one person a year ago that you've been building this authentic thing with, and then you like ended up bringing a dish to the dinner party that this casting director, who you didn't know was a casting director, just like liked, and then you talk about making the recipe and it's like, oh, I'm an actor. And then it's like, oh, now we follow each other on Instagram. And then it's like a year from now, maybe something comes up and they're like, oh, by the way, I just saw you post on your Instagram. I'm actually looking for someone, to fill this role for me, whatever it is, because then they're meeting you in a really authentic way. And I think authenticity goes a really, really, really long way in LA.
Absolutely. Real, meaningful, authentic relationships are really what you should be should be your ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Even over the success of your career. Because the success of your career just is like a great bonus that comes with these real, meaningful, authentic relationships. I also just want to note that it's so fun to watch you get excited about networking. Because it really is your favorite
It's
thing.
my favorite thing. When I was back in Toronto a few weeks ago for TIFF, We Audition had another event, and I went to it to promote cinematography for actors with my actor friend in Toronto, Louise. And we were there, and we walked into the tail end of like a panel discussion that was happening. And as I walked in, all I heard was a rant about how networking is dirty and horrible and how actors shouldn't network. And I wanted to scream about how networking is amazing because...
Wait, someone said actors shouldn't?
No, there was a panel of people and they were like, let's get rid of the word networking. Like what you said on for episode 1 of like networking is like a dirty word to you. And I'm like, let's get rid of that immediately because it's the way that people portray what networking is. I mean it as like an authentic relationship you can build with people because you like film. We work in a hard industry. We want to make friends with people. I mean, so I just walked into this thing and I'm like, oh my God, what a misconception. Like it's ridiculous. And they're at a networking event and they're like, let's change the way that networking works. Like, networking's bad. They tell us to network. I'm like, am I at a union meeting for something? Like, it was so horrible.
Wait, are you a union buster?
Am I? So yeah, I mean, I get excited about networking, and Haley, I brought you to a single event now of my side of the world, and did you have fun?
Oh my God, yeah.
Didn't have to pay for your drinks, did you?
I didn't pay for any. They made me a cheeseburger.
And chili.
And I had as much chili as I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you met some great people.
It's such a good example of like this sort of thing that we have been talking about wanting to create for actors here.
Community building.
It's just like it's not so strained and uncomfortable and desperate feeling.
Let's get around the stigma of being an actor in LA.
There is a huge I mean, I'm so embarrassed. And I'm an actor.
Yeah, you have a privacy window on a privacy screen on your laptop for when you work in HiMat.
I will fess up to this. When I work at the workspace that I go to, I have a privacy screen on my laptop so that people won't see me submitting for auditions.
Let's change
on
that.
Actors Access and Central Casting, things like that. Yeah, because I don't want anyone to walk by me and be like, she thinks she's an actor. Yeah.
Let's change it.
It's embarrassing.
I mean, imagine if my side of the world, people were like, oh, she thinks she's a DP. It's like...
You are.
Yeah, and you are an actor. I mean, it's like... that's why I'm just like, let's change the game a little. Let's merge above the line, below the line in a networking way of life.
Hey everybody, it's Haley, just popping in here to chat a little about cinematography for actors. It's an online course platform that Indy and I created to teach the technical side of performance. Our goal is to help you, as an actor or newer filmmaker, feel confident when you walk onto set. We release new classes monthly, and you'll also find tons of free downloadable content. We recommend our subscription, where you'll have unlimited access to all of our existing courses, bonus materials, and those new monthly releases. Our listeners can use code TTC Podcast for 20% off a monthly membership of the entire collection. That's TTC Podcast for 20% off your card at checkout. Okay, now back to the episode.
I just think there is such a separation, and I'm not sure why that is, but people keep talking about how networking's bad, and I'm sitting here like, you're coming to Poland with me, Haley.
There's
and you're
huge
gonna
separation.
Yeah.
I really am curious about, like,
you're coming to Camerimage, you're coming to network with me, you're coming to have fun.
Everybody, I'm going to Poland.
And you know what we're trying to get her into right now is modeling in all of these workshops at Camerimage.
It would be very fun.
You have the best DPs in the world teaching hundreds of students every day, and they always need models. And I'm like, wouldn't this be fun? You can be the muse of camera world.
I would love it.
Great. Anyway, sorry,
that was too much.
my anger came through too much.
Camera world,
classes
camera
that
world,
aren't worth
get
it.
out. Okay, so I mean,
So casting director workshops, necessary evil.
There are some good casting director workshop studios. I will name them.
Great.
Ace Studios.
Okay.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Actors Comedy Studio. Good. Those are the only ones I've tried.
Okay.
If it's like a studio that does them regularly, you can probably trust that one. I have also noticed there are a few casting directors in town who just like get together and try to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And those usually don't go over very well. And
Okay.
I've only heard stories. Like, I haven't done them because even though I know I need to do them, I am very skeptical. So I tend to stick to the studios. But the horror stories I have heard about a few of these when it's run by casting directors, I would say maybe do your homework.
Okay.
Like, Reddit is going to tell you everything you need to know.
Great.
So if you are thinking about joining or attending a casting director workshop that's run by like a conglomerate of casting directors,
yeah,
just type in the name of that workshop, Reddit, and they'll tell you everything.
Good. That's a really...
Or ask me and I'll do the research for you. That's fine. I don't mind.
Okay. What else were not worth your time, personally? Or you didn't have a good experience?
Like things that are like a 1-day class that tell you anything that tells you like you're gonna come out of this class ready to crush it and you'll get all those bookings. Like, if anything tells you that you're going to get a booking for taking that class, I would say they can't guarantee that. So anyone who does is like,
it's like, what are you doing?
Really leading you down the wrong road. There are certain classes that are good for a short period of time.
Like?
But that the school needs you to keep going to, even after it's no longer useful to you. I would say if you have been in like an on-camera audition course for like over a year, you probably know how to audition on camera. Because for those classes, basically what you're doing is sitting in a chair or standing right in front of a camera, just like you would for your own self-tape.
Right.
And doing a scene that your teachers send to you. And if you've decided to use that class for something else, personally, I'm in one right now that I think I will stay in because it keeps my memorization muscle strong. And I know personally I would not stick with it myself. But if you're able to print off 2 scenes every week, learn them, tape them, and you feel good about it, you probably don't need to be in that class for extended periods of time.
What is that costing you a month?
It's costing me $225 a month.
Wow.
4 classes a month.
That's a lot.
And I would love to be able to say, I can do this myself, but I know myself and I know I won't do it. But if you know yourself and you know you will do it and you can pop in and out of a class like that. So if you go for a few months, get strong, and then go away and do, and then if you feel you're slipping, go back for a few months. But I would say don't extend that because you know what you're doing. Like, once you have those tools, if you can trust yourself to keep using them, save your money.
Okay.
I won't because I can't trust myself.
What is it? What can't you trust?
I can't trust that I will do the work without being kept accountable.
Got it.
Because I have ADHD.
Okay. Fair.
So like
Fair.
So I am of a mindset, which I always have been. If I don't have required work, it's rest time.
Okay.
So
well, thank God you started this business.
And
with
I
me.
can't
You always
make
have work.
I can't make required work for myself.
Yeah.
Which I know about myself and disappoints me all the time. But yeah, luckily, Indie keeps me accountable, and paying for these classes, that is why I do it.
True.
But not everybody needs that.
Okay.
Scene study is wonderful, but if you are only doing scene study and you don't know how to work technically with a camera, you're learning how to be a theater actor, which is wonderful if that's what you want to do. But if you want to be on television, if you want to be in films, you need to back that up or maybe substitute for a while with the technical on-camera course.
Got it.
Which is something like we would teach, or like LA Acting Studios would teach.
What's the scene study kind of cost?
I remember the course that I was taking. Wonderful. Listen, this studio is the same studio that I'm staying in for on camera. Amazing teachers, amazing studio. And they don't charge very much. Scene study can run you anywhere from $125 to $700 or $800 a month for one class, depending on the studio.
What are the $800 a month ones?
There are some very big name teachers in LA who like feels like a secret society. like their list of like previous students are all A-listers. So I think that may be worth it. Personally, I'm waitlisting at a couple of them to see what they're all about. But I don't think you need to be in scene study for years and years at a time. Wait, I think I stopped. No, I didn't. I'm okay. I think you need to be in scene study maybe for 1 year.
Okay.
Or you need to be backing it up with technical study.
What are you currently taking?
Right now, I've just added a couple more. Right now,
it's an addiction.
Right, it really is. And I think it helps me stay productive, and it helps me. Everyone's different, but because of my brain stuff, I need to be busy to stay busy and to feel like the work is not overwhelming. So I currently am in an on-camera audition class, which I stay in to make sure that my memorization and like the amount of pages that I can handle stays at a high number. So on-camera auditions, I'm in a technical acting like on-camera course. I am in a private singing instruction. I am picking up an improv class, and I'm picking up a like group singing performance class.
Yeah. Okay. Break down the prices.
Okay. Everything I'm doing is at the low end.
Wow.
So everyone keep that in mind.
Okay.
My on-camera audition class is $225 a month. My on-camera technical class is $300 a month. And when I switch up a level, it will be $350 a month. My singing lesson is, I don't do it enough. It's $75 for a half-hour lesson, and I only go every 2 weeks. One day I will go more, but gotta keep it cheap. My group singing class is $35 a week, which is unheard of. I can't believe I found this place. The improv course that I will be on is $275 a month. So I didn't keep track of that, and I don't. I do not keep track of that number.
That's an insane number for it being a low end.
I don't even want to know. I will never do the math. I will never count how much that costs, because I won't. I will stop. I will stop doing it if I know how much it costs.
What do you think, for someone moving to LA, can you briefly list the classes you would say begin to take?
Yeah. I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
But if you're not interested in vocal stuff at all, vocal stuff is a new thing. It's a new finding myself situation where I realized that I love musical theater. And that's why I'm doing that. I mean, you should have control over your voice in one way or another. So eventually you really should take some sort of voice training,
Yeah.
whether you've done it in like your drama school or not. You do need to have control over your voice, which I don't. But I think the most important thing, if you're moving to LA to be a film actor, and you're just coming out of drama school, so you've probably done scene study so much you want to die before you do any more scene study. So the first thing you should find is an on-camera technical course to teach you how to work with a camera, because I guarantee you did not learn everything you need to learn in acting or drama school. And an audition course. Find like a 6-week audition, like on-camera course.
Do you want to name drop some places?
Robert Davanzo has an excellent 6-week on-camera course. If you are planning to move to Los Angeles and you want to take that when you first get here, I would say there's a 36-month waiting list. So get on that list and get on it before you move here, way before you move here, because it fills up. You also do skip the line if you join his, like, you don't skip the line, but you do get priority if you join a scene study class before. So that was my way in.
Wow.
Also an excellent scene study class.
Okay.
Beautiful scene study class. They do
Why?
require a lot of rehearsal though.
Why is it a beautiful scene study class?
They take it very seriously. So it feels a lot like drama school. So coming out of drama school, you're so like emotionally invested in being an artist. So going to Robert Davanzo's studio in North Hollywood is a very familiar feeling, familiar transition. He requires, Hagen reading and shirtless reading. So like Uta Hagen.
Oh my god, I knew something.
Michael Shirtless, yeah. So it's they don't just teach those methods, but they want you to kind of have a like basic understanding of things that you would have learned in drama school. So even if you haven't been to drama school, it's a great place to start. Yeah, I love that. I love that studio. Yeah, that's where honestly, get on that 6 week. He gives you a really great list of like things to know, and basically what I really wanted from that 6-week on camera course was a checklist of things that I needed to do for a good audition.
Okay.
Because you learn how, once again, in drama school, you learn how to act. You learn how to act really well. An audition is completely different from acting. An audition is like a formulaic process. And he really gave us the formula that we could follow to ensure that we would have a good audition. And after you take that 6-week course, you are eligible to take the ongoing on-camera course.
Great.
Which is the one that I'll be in forever. I'll die in
the
that
Roundtree
class.
one?
No, that's still the Davanzo one.
Oh, got it.
Roundtree is across the street, actually.
Oh.
I'm really spilling everything right now. I park my car around the corner when I go to those places because I don't want them to find out that I'm cheating. I don't think they would care.
No, they would not.
But
you're paying them.
But I have a family trauma that makes me feel like I have to be loyal to everyone.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my goodness, you do?
Oh
what?
My god.
Yeah, it's across the street.
Great.
You can take that without having taken any of the Davanzo courses. I would say take them together. I'm having the best time of my life, and I feel like I'm becoming the best actor in the world by taking those at the same time.
Anything else that a newer actor should take?
It depends. A new actor interested in comedy, as much as I personally have resisted taking improv, I'm like 13, 14 years into working as an actor, and I'm so scared of improv, but I have finally been convinced that it is necessary. But if you're interested in comedy, even if you're not, actually, we will have Goldie on at some point. Goldie said something.
David Goldsmith, director from our Directors Roundtable.
David Goldsmith. He said something that actually really woke me up, and it was that his personal experience on set with actors was that the best actors, not just comedically, but the best actors who were the most pliable and could make new decisions or have new lines thrown at them and just seamlessly incorporate them without panicking, without needing extra time, were actors who improvised, who had studied improvisation at an improv school.
So even if it's a drama film.
Even a drama film, because even on the day during a drama film, you can be working your ass off and there will be a set writer who says, you know what, that's not working, let's try this. And if you are not ready, or they'll say, can you just say something about, they'll just say, you know what, just go ahead and put in a line there, just do it yourself, but say something about how, you know, his mom something, and you're like, what? Like, I can't, this happened to me a week ago. I was on set, and I had a line, and the director said, oh, you know, you don't really have to use that line, just whatever you would do. And I panicked.
Wow.
And blinked because I mean, it worked out fine, and I ended up doing it as we were shooting, and it was fine. But in the moment, he's like, what would you say? And I was like, what would I say? You know, like I wasn't ready to be flexible.
Yeah.
So,
got it.
I guess improv too. Sorry, guys, you're going to move to LA and you're going to spend your life savings on classes because whether or not you think you need them, you really do need them.
Have you made friends?
Have I made friends?
From classes?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Some of my favorite friends are, you know, like everyone's a busy actor, you know. But you really do make really like lovely connections with these people because it's just like drama school. You're being really vulnerable. You're trusting these people. You're spending time outside of class rehearsing with these people. So you really do become close.
Got it.
Which is lovely. Oh. Sorry. Oh. I want to say the exact classes you should join. An improv class. An on-camera audition class. Technical on-camera course. If you have not gone to drama school, if you're not just out of drama school, you need a scene study course. Just to learn how to like...
And would you recommend some sort of sound healing meditation yoga to center yourself after all of these busy classes?
Oh my God, yes. It's so funny. I am becoming a total cliche, but it all makes so much sense once you're here. Once you're here and you are working as hard and as much as you need to be working, it's not that it feels like work. It's not that you're drained, but you do need something to kind of just like
ground
you and settle you and bring you back to a place of being like, I am me and I am whole and I am a being who is learning. You need something to help you be patient with yourself. And I think, yes, meditation, sound bath. Personally, yoga just frustrates me. I do it, but it's really hard. But yeah, something that's gentle.
Yeah.
Lying down, closing your eyes.
Screaming.
Listening to something that's outside of you, some binaural beats, something like that. You really do. And for me, I won't do it unless I schedule it and will lose money if I don't show up. So
yeah.
Yeah, you have to do that stuff too.
I think one of the last things also, what time commitment are you looking at a week right now for your classes?
I haven't done that. For classes, 3 hours on Mondays, 5 hours on Wednesdays, and then I'll have soon 4 hours on Sundays. And every other week, half an hour for singing. And then when improv happens, I think it's like a 2.5 hour class.
Wow. And then auditioning, how long does that take a week?
It depends on how many auditions you have a week, but...
Average?
10
10 hours.
10 hours a week, including like memorizing,
submitting,
time and submitting time.
So you're looking at full-time on top of full-time.
Robert DeVonzo also says anything less than 40 hours a week spent on becoming an actor is a hobby. If you want this to be your full-time job, you're spending full-time job time to do it. You look like you don't buy into that, but
I just hate when people put like a number or try to like quantify something. It's like if all of your heart is there and you're doing everything you possibly can within your time or what you're excited about doing, I think it can still be a profession.
Yeah. If I, listen,
I don't think it needs to be 40 hours a week, you know.
I don't work a job, right? I quit my jobs. So
she's in a better place.
So I have 40 hours a week. There were times in the last 4 years that I've been working a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs just to like live. And I did not have 40 hours a week to spend on acting. It did not mean I was any less of an actor.
Yes, exactly.
And it did not mean that it wasn't my career.
Yes.
Things change. Life and time ebbs and flows. If you're trying, you're doing it.
I think taking that idea that he said and more making it like just be committed to the career.
Thanks,
Haley, for sharing everything. Because people need to know, like, there's so much out there about, like, the mindset and, like, the creative and the emotional. But it's like, when you land in LA, what are you looking for? Like, help people get past all the research that you had to do, just struggling, paying money to things that didn't make sense or paying money to things that you're like, oh, I would have paid this again and again. Like, let's get the practical out there for people, you know? And that's what this was good for.
I feel like financially there's a lot more. There are side hustles. We'll talk about side hustles another time.
I think that's our next episode.
We'll discuss side hustles because I got a lot of them for you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you for coming and listening.
This is the
Topanga Collective
podcast.